I'm Trek with 2Ks. All right, hola, hola. Get over to the mic. Let me do that properly. Where we at? Where we at? I am looking for. There we go. Hola, hola. Buenos dias. Buenos tardes. If you don't know, we just got over daylight saving times. It's a Monday evening. I am running super late because I was lazy. Then I got distracted, and then I was trying to do something. I'm over here kind of experimenting on like displays and I told y'all I'm still trying to go through this whole change thing on how the show is going to look and stuff. And yeah, it's a growing development or a growing process, whatever. But yeah, so that's what's going on right now. What else? What else? What else? Still in the one man show phase of things. Right now, I am trying to make this post over on the Twitter side. Yeah. So, in the short, if you don't know, I am Trek with 2Ks, and what I do here is I be talking about crypto stuff now. And before, the focus used to be more about like the following on the week, but I've been experimenting on how I'm like picking stuff up source wise. Before, I was using the aggregator website, like crypto news website, and that was before I took like the little hiatus. Well, not even little hiatus. It was like a good long hiatus, y'all. No cap. Hey, what's going on, Keyshawn? Appreciate you. Shalom to you too. And so now I've been just like cruising through Twitter. I'll be sticking my, proverbial head and metaphorical head in on Twitter every here and there, and then like certain things catch my attention. Like there was a what's her name? Caitlin Long did like 2 posts that caught my attention. Jeffrey Sachs, the AKA Crypto Caesar, he also did a post or 2 that kind of caught my attention. It was a couple other things, but nonetheless, those are some of the things I'm going over. Also, I mean, listen, he don't need my cosign. He don't need my cosign. But King said something today on the morning segment of Gemma Crypto that when I heard him say it, I was like, yo, how many people are gonna pay attention and catch what he just called? And I'm gonna get into that today because I thought about it and I was like, he right, because like look at what the hell's going on now with this administration. Imagine what it's gonna. I'm gonna get into that in a minute. Oh man, I'm trying to. And, I spelled that wrong. Horrible to try to. There we go. All right, so yeah, the week has been interesting. Sorry, I'm trying to play the game right now. The woman show. Did it not? What's going on? So I think YouTube is still, or Restream is still acting funny because I changed the title, but what I'm seeing on YouTube right now is not the title I'm seeing in Restream. But anywho, the show must go on. The basic title was hashtag Trek with 2Ks live. Crypto Federal Reserve, David Sachs, a crypto grifter? Question mark. Also, crypto Federal Reserve? Question mark. And so those are some of the things I'm gonna get into today. So let's jump into this Twitter setup for the things that I bookmark. Oh, that was the other thing I needed to do. Sorry, I got distracted way too quick. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. All right, so back to these bookmarks. What was the first one? There was one in particular that I think that went. Yeah, something has my. I know what it is. It's actually Restream that's doing it. That has my system wonky. Um, hmm. Yeah, it is one. There we go. All right, come on. Damn, it really just like it really just slowed everything down. All right. So first one I'm gonna jump into as a thing that caught my attention is one of the one of the Twitter folks that I follow is Woo Blockchain, which is basically like a news source thing. X amount of time they on they whole like price talk stuff, which I don't really pay attention to those posts like that. But actually they've gotten better at it now, where they've gotten more into like local news stuff and international news stuff, and like they actually cover stuff out of the Asia side, but it's within the Twitter writing framework, right? So one of the stories that caught my attention was about the Solana Labs co-founder Tali stating that the best option is to not set up a crypto reserve. And I'm gonna tie this in with the whole Jeffrey Sack. Damn, what is his name right now? David Sachs, because he also said something that was contrary to towing the government line of, hey, we need to tax everything. But nonetheless, in regards to this, like, so again, this is that whole thing of like the old heads versus the new heads. And I'm saying this at like the retail level, right? Where if you were the folks who were in the early days and you was already doing business stuff and you was already being like an angel investor and like all of that kind of stuff, you saw this crypto thing and it was like, if I can get in, I would. But if I don't want to get into where it would cause me headache, right? So trouble, headache. So you got the folks from back then who got in, who are the early founders of the MetaMask, who are the early, founders and investors. My focus is more so on the investor folks and what I'm about to say. Those folks, they didn't care about the ethos or the narratives that we spun around the early days of like what this Bitcoin thing was supposed to be. A side note, it's interesting how the narrative that's being built now around this Federal Reserve thing, the crypto Federal Reserve or basket of reserve, whatever, and it is a basket. It is not just Bitcoin. Everyone keeps focusing on the Bitcoin wording in whatever the soundbite or the quote is. But if you actually read the White House press release for it, which one of my homeboys sent me the other night, and I was just like, what? Like, but this isn't even just Bitcoin. And then they're saying stuff that honestly, it definitely sounds like somebody who didn't, or it definitely has the PR tone to it, but it also, what's going on? Hey, what's going on, Coop? But it also has a air of like, you don't really know what you're talking about. But it's to be expected of. They can't be like, oh, listen, y'all, we messed up. Like, we shouldn't have sold it, or we shouldn't have did the confiscation stuff that we were doing the way we were doing it back in 2014, back in 2013, back in 2015, when they were doing straight setups back in the day on how, like, people was being arrested all over the place in the early days. And what did they do? Is the Treasury Department, the U.S. Marshals, those were like the two largest holders. They sold the majority of what they had to Tim Draper and a couple of other folks. And now, if you read the press release, it's like, oh man, it would have been worth this amount of money. But you're also leaving out, or not you, the way that the crypto news and even the mainstream news is reporting around this thing is it's just Bitcoin. Few people actually talk about how it's not just Bitcoin, it's going to be other cryptocurrencies, which includes stable coins. Now, I don't know what conversations the Solana Labs co-founder has been in. Also, don't know the conversations of what David Sachs has been in. And I'm gonna tie this in with this Federal Reserve thing. It is interesting to note, and I know of a couple of federal employee folks previously, not saying they got fired or anything, but like when they were working in certain departments or certain agencies, they had to give up the crypto that they had, right? Which, again, the narrative for the old school folks who are down at the idealistic economic sovereignty level is like, well, why would you do that? Like, why would you even have a job that would tell you you have to give up your economic sovereignty over something that you like had positive control of, that you wanted, that until that particular moment, like there wasn't anything that really like said that you had to give up your stuff other than that you're working for this particular job. Imagine that. You were told you had to give up, quote, your money, or you had to, like, imagine somebody told you you had to give up the $5, like, or you give up your fiat dollars that you have in your wallet or your purse. Like, that's literally a part of that situation. Where am I going with this? I think that, especially in lieu of that, the White House meeting that just happened, you're gonna have a lot of folks saying things that if you were here in the earlier days, like pre C19, pre class of 2017, the and King called it again this morning, like the grifters that are about to pop up in this place, it's going to look crazy for those of us who've been in this from back then. Like, and again, like he called it, like you got the folks who made they bag in other spaces, and then because of where they sit in those other spaces, they have the connection to be able to come in over here and be like, oh well, blah blah blah, like I can tell you this, I can tell you that. Oh, I know what I know because I made money in the PC.com era. I made money in real estate. I made money in some kind of tech thing that has nothing to do with blockchain in any capacity. But those are the folks that are going to pop up, and I'm saying this not just within this administration. It will be future administrations down the line that you will see these folks pop up. And another, again, he don't need my cosign on it, but I'm co-signing something King said this morning, where he was talking about how there was price like fluctuation. It was crazy price. The mainstream was reporting that it was crazy price fluctuation in Bitcoin, which was then rippling out within the markets and stuff, right? And he was like, this is not retail level folks doing this. This is those family trusts, the other big bank folks, Wall Street daddy type folks, Wall Street kids type folks who like got the money and connections that are doing certain moves that are messing with the market as the way we see it. He said something in particular along the lines of like, they're exiting out And these folks are going to be in a position down the road to be able to go to like the public sector, and they're going to be the future heads of certain agencies and departments. I don't know how many people caught that, but I'm co-signing that one, because if you look at what's going on right now with the administration, we went generally from where, well, not even just this administration, we generally went where we had people who were um in the in the financial sector who moved into certain government agencies, and they were the 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 idea people, or the face people, or the ones who, hey man, things is happening. Stan, what's going on? But so we generally used to pick from just financial folks. If you noted, between this last administration and this administration, now we are expanding over into the technocrats, right? The people who are more about technological innovation and being more dependent on integrating technology into everyday life, right? The big dreamer folks. And here you have it, that if you played your cards right in this period, and he specifically was talking about the ETF folks, the ones who are behind the scenes, they're eventually going to pop out on the federal side down the road at some point. And I said, yo, I don't think people caught that. I got to bring this up later tonight, because we see what the previous behavior and trend of Wall Street on the financial sector was like, where it would be, you would do X amount of years, decades in the financial sector, working at Wall Street, working at whatever international financial firms, and then you would go over into government. Like, there's a number of people who was at Saks, no, not Saks, at what is that, JP Morgan, and I forgot the other company, who ended up being in various administrations, going, I think, as far back to Bush 1. So like, it only kind of makes sense that now we see more growth and more influence in the technocrat group of folks who aren't Wall Street money folks, but they still money folks. Jeff Bezos, Elon, what you call the folks from Chat GTP, like, they not Wall Street folks, they all techie folks, right? But they money folks. Now, wrapping all of that around, and like I said, like, if you're from the old school thing of it, you're looking at this going like, well, why are we celebrating that the government's going to get into Bitcoin? Because that's just going to be a part of growth process. That's just the nature of the beast, to develop within this environment, to develop within this ecosystem, as far as the market. What's the word I'm looking for? As far as like what our society works for in the legal setup, as far as how it works within the market adoption setup, as being a first tier country and all that. What's going on to New Jersey? I haven't been up there in a minute. Got to work that out, probably this month or next month. But then the other part of how capitalism works for us, right? This path of things that it is going along, as far as Bitcoin, as well as the other cryptocurrencies, the stable coins, the way that the tech stack, as far as blockchain and the other things that we've come up with over this past decade plus, this is a part of what it has to go through. The narratives will change over time around the technology, around the use cases for some people, right? The idealism will either harden or weaken or totally disappear for other people. I can tell you right now, I am one of the people that the idealism has been really, like, just it's been weakening on a number of fronts. But I'm still here because I have some kind of hope. I don't know why. I'll be honest with y'all on that one. But you have it that America is now making a move. Hey, what's going on? Les Squire, what's up? Where this administration is making a move to have a bigger imprint on crypto, but doing it as far as like, well, we quelled and quashed everyone else, and now we're going to push to make it that we're leading the way as far as it being through government sanctions, not sanctioned, like it's sanctioned by the government of like, now we're cool with it. Now we're going to like make sure we push it forward. In my mind, what they're going to end up with down the road is going to look so different from 2020. Like, and I'm not talking like at the end of Trump's administration. I'm talking like the second or third person down. Because at that point, what is that? 444. That's 12 years, right? So 2 administrations down the road, we're going to be looking at a whole different thing of crypto. And again, those of us who are from, you know, that the early day eras, I don't even know what we're going to call those, or what the word is that is used to describe the people who are like pre 2014, right? It's going to look so different, y'all. And at this point, I'm just here for the ride. Like, I'm just here for the ride. So let me jump onto this thing as far as like what's his face? David Sachs. So there was the way he describes it is that there was a smear campaign against him because of how he is okay. He's now making his talks about how like the government should have did X, Y, and Z in keeping the crypto that they had instead of selling it off, right? Yo, what's going on, Crypto Night? Hey, Arizona. Yeah, I gotta go back out there, man. I ain't been out in Arizona in a minute. So he's kind of getting, you know, the smearing on the like, bruh, like you didn't care about none of this back in the day. Like you thought it was okay that the government sold it because it was the illegal stuff. It was illegal. It was the digital drug money. You know what I'm saying? So like, mind you, he's an investor in a number of like early crypto companies. But then again, like I said, he's in this position. The federal thing is like, well, we don't want to have a conflict of ethics. And I forgot the other thing. And then, you know, just so the optics of how it looks, that he might say things and take actions that to the and I'm going to say this to the crypto folks, it just looks all wacky. It looks like it's a, well, how could you say this, but then you invested in this company and that company and you hold blah, blah, blah crypto and blah, blah, blah Bitcoin. But for the folks who like was around for a minute, it's like, yo, he literally like, he's not old school in the terms of like, he was I think he's around like 2016 or something like that. But he was doing it from the back end, investing in companies on the higher up part of the economic food chain, right? And then even back then, he's a lawyer by trade. So for him, KYC was always going to be a thing. He was always good with KYC. He's not a person who believes in the core definition of like economic sovereignty. If you ever listen to when he talks on All In Podcasts with him and the rest of the crew, he's very pro-government, very red, conservative, but at the same time, like he's about getting his money, but he'll do it in the most legal way following. Which then goes into this whole next thing of, yes, he has crypto grifter energy or tendencies, right? But he also said something, and I didn't pull the tweet on that one because I heard about it like way after. I didn't actually find the tweet on this, where he was basically saying like doing a tax on crypto transaction is stupid, and that's the short of what he said. It was somebody else in another agency that was like, yeah, there should be like a 0.01 oh, that's what it was. Like to fund the Federal Reserve, they wanted to do like a 0.01 um what you call it? Transaction fee. And this is like, you don't even know what the hell you talking about right now, because if you knew anything about how smart contracts work, if you know anything about how many transactions can happen in a minute, like who told you that number? That's stupid. That and transaction fee wise alone, do you know how many exchanges you would kill off of that? Because why? They're gonna lose the user base off of, oh, your joint is too expensive and I can't do the same level of transactions. What 0.01%? That's crazy. Nonetheless, like, so on one side of it, he gets certain things. On the other side of it, he a traditional, he ain't about the decentralization, he ain't about the KYC, he's not about the economic sovereignty, is my point. And it's I'm still curious on the end of like how much influence he's gonna have in this administration for how they're trying to establish its the US's like presence in the crypto market. And I think it'll work out internally. I'm more curious on the how does this work out external to the other regions, other markets, other governments. That's the part that gets me, because again, like this crypto thing, as far as you have a crypto wallet, yeah, uh your crypto wallet doesn't hold your actual crypto, right? Your ability to access the crypto is largely based on, can you make some type of internet connection, or are you using a chain that does like X amount of the transaction record keeping off chain, and then you end up with the net result information that gets, you know, hashed into whatever chain it is you're using. So how does that work for us to be like, oh well, we're gonna hold it this way and then we're gonna do X amount of buying? That's another thing that's not been put out. Well, it is, but it's still kind of curious on how are you going to have the Federal Reserve purchase without like it swinging the market. And granted, I think today there was like a bunch of stories about like how much we dipped. I think it went below 90. I be telling y'all, I don't pay attention to the price stuff no more. It's just kind of where I'm at about this stuff right now, as far as Bitcoin is concerned. I definitely don't pay attention to none of the other stuff anymore. But if you have it that we really, well, at this point, it seems like we're really pushing on this crypto Federal Reserve thing. It just is weird that Trump argued to make it a federal thing, and then he ends up putting BlackRock in charge of it. So how did it go from being a federal thing to then being managed, or I think owned, by a private company? Again, like we Stan, you're right. We got scammed. We got scammed real bad, Stan. Like real bad, man. Sorry, I gotta wet the whistle. And so David Sachs, I'm curious to see how this is gonna play out. I'm also curious to see, like, all right, so think about this, right? He 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 wants to serve the administration. He does have an admiration for Donald Trump. He said that many a times. and I don't mean love and admiration. I mean like he thinks that like he's doing his civil duty, in excuse me, in serving in the administration and stuff. That's what I'm saying. Um, but like it's crazy. Like think about this. He said that the government was basically stupid for selling off the crypto that it had, and then he turned around and joined the same government and had to sell off everything he had created the crypto. If you thought the government was basically stupid for doing that, or it was an ill-informed decision, then what are you like what how do I look at you who went and got a position? He's consulting. He's like I think I forgot how he worded it, but like he's considered a consultant to the government. Um, yes, I keep hearing that part too, as far as it being a nothing burger. But what are you really going to discuss in the first meeting? What do you like? You're not going to get into the technical details. How far in the weeds would you really jump on the legal stance in the first go meeting? Not really. But to the thing that I'm making about like if he thought it was kind of an ill-advised, aka stupid decision for the government to sell crypto, why do you then go and get a consulting position that makes it that you have to sell and divest from everything that he had connected to crypto? I don't know the logic on that one. I don't know. But anywho, on that one, that story, by the way, was over on Bitcoin Magazine. If anybody's interested, where is my damn mouse? I literally. Okay, there we go. Why? Why? What is going on? Okay. Ah, you killing me right now. Something is going on, and now, okay, so you're not moving. What the? Ugh. All right. All right. You know what? Let me try this. Damn it. I honestly don't understand why it is lugging like this tonight. All right. Well, it looks like I'm gonna have to start a new stream because my joint is really bugging right now, and I don't know why. Yeah, don't know why this is happening right now. But anywho, I'm gonna start a new stream. Give me a minute, y'all. What is going on? I'm gonna have to do a hard fucking restart. I'm Trek with 2Ks. Alrighty, hola again. So what I just realized just now was because I did the reset the way I did it, I power cycled the whole laptop. And so I do believe I lost all of what I said before. All right. I guess it wasn't meant to be that important. Yeah. So sorry for the folks who catch this later on and be like, "Oh, what is he talking about?" I'm gonna probably just touch on a couple of things and try to really, really, really condense it down versus the longer things that I said before. So, like I said, the title for this episode was about crypto Federal Reserve, why David Sachs a crypto grifter, question mark. He said things that make it sound like he's pro crypto, but if you know his background, he's not a retail level person. He's a big investor on the back end. He's a lawyer by trade, so he was always pro KYC. He was never about the decentralization thing or like actual economic sovereignty. So there you have it. Like, he says things that, yeah, it sounds cool, but then on the other side of it, it's like you got to remember the man's background. He made his money in other things. Like, yes, he invested in tech companies, but he made his money in other markets outside of this crypto thing, outside of tech stuff, I believe, too. The other thing that I think highlights on what he's at now, that also kind of throws me in a like question on how to look at him, is if he thought it was ill-advised or stupid for the U.S. government, the Treasury Department, the U.S. Marshals,